Hello, this is Dr. Earl, and I'm going to talk to you about the proof related to and the research behind the world's greatest vitamin C. Now, I'm going to base this research and this discussion on some very important studies that have been done previously. It's obvious and well established from these studies that humans, along with guinea pigs and some bats, are the only mammals that do not make their own vitamin C. It's also known from previous studies that these species and their cells are eager to utilize any vitamin C available. And the reality is we have to understand that as a foundation and a base. So with this premise, we can proceed. If you need further proof or evidence on those two basic sciences, then I invite you to do a study on pubmed.gov in regards to vitamin C and mammals. Now, specifically in regards to the proof with bioactive C. This is a study that's done by NBR Enterprises. This is the company that owns the intellectual property and rights to Bioenergy C, Beyond C, Bioactive C, and True C. They showed that the vitamin C within these products penetrated the cell at an extremely high rate. This was proven based on the inhibition of reactive oxygen species with neutrophils. So understand that part of vitamin C's role is to work as a powerful antioxidant. And so they took neutrophils and stressed them. Let's talk about the method. So they took freshly purified human neutrophils that were pre-incubated with a botanical extract over a wide range of dilutions. This means that there was a lot of variability as far as what they were testing against. They then loaded DCF/DA and challenged with a high dose of hydrogen peroxide to induce severe oxidative stress. Subsequently, the active ingredient in bioactive C was induced into the medium. Conclusion. So this was a third-party conclusion and research. Bioactive C demonstrated a substantial inhibitory effect on the reactive oxygen species formation in human neutrophil cells. Whew, that's a mouthful. But what it means is bioactive C was able to help the cell reduce the oxidative stress at an accelerated level. Bioactive C displayed a maximum effect at a concentration of 1 part per million. At that dose, bioactive C inhibited approximately 68% of the oxidative stress caused by the peroxide challenge. The level of reactive oxygen species formation was not brought back to baseline in any of the dilution tested, including 0.1 parts per trillion. So, what this means is that 68% reduction was obtained. And you think, wow, wouldn't the world's greatest vitamin C give you 100% of reduction? Well, it should be noted that 68% reduction seemed to be the maximum enzymatic reduction possible. Thus, the C product had reached the maximum oxidative stress reduction. This test was obviously reproduced and done several times, and then the reports were given directly to NBR. Additionally, even when adding more oxidative stressors, the C product continued to produce results intracellularly and up to and including 0.1 parts per trillion. Several conclusions were able to be made from this study. Number one, the vitamin C product was extremely effective to the point that it actually reduced the maximum allowed by the enzymes inside of the cell. Number two, the vitamin C product penetrated the cells at a very high rate. The rate was so high that it really exceeded the testing capabilities. And number three, only IVC noted similar success rates of oxidative stress reduction. This test also concluded that other cells, including inflamed, infected, tumor cells, and other mammalian cells, particularly human cells, take up this form of oral vitamin C at an extremely effective and accelerated rate. So the cells will take up the vitamin C if it's presented to it in an accelerated fashion. And we've talked about then the other obstacles that are present with most other vitamin Cs, that it's not absorbed at a high rate and it has a first pass through the liver. Let's talk about each of those studies. So first, as far as absorbability, research in regards to vitamin C and in comparison with liposomal vitamin C, there are two proofs. Number one, knowing that what the standard uptake is of vitamin C, liposomal C is reported to be 5 times that of typical vitamin C, and bioactive C is noted to have 10 times the absorption. This was actually done through a very detailed research project in Colorado, where a very well-known liposomal researcher was comparing his data against other vitamin Cs. And he concluded that our vitamin C was absorbed at a much higher rate than any of the other Cs. And we have some other absorption proof a little bit later. Number two, this liposomal research is in contact with NBR and has noted on several occasions that the numbers quoted in the above reference are correct. So 5 times for liposomal C and 10 times for bioactive C. Unfortunately, I do not have permission to use this researcher's name, but I can tell you that he works in Colorado, and I can tell you that his name is synonymous with blinds, curtains, awnings. That's all I can say. You can do your own detective work from there, but the research is there. Additional studies have been done to show that this particular vitamin C is absorbed and utilized at a high rate. So, the Royden Clinic in Wichita, Kansas has a long track record of using high-dose vitamin C IV for a variety of ailments. One of the tests that they perform and have perfected is that of being treated prior to their IV use for vitamin C so that they can show the difference and they can show the amount of vitamin C that it takes for a patient to become saturated, if you will, or have sufficient vitamin C. This test is called a urine spillover test, and it is performed after a patient urinates into a cup, and then a dipstick is used to measure the presence of vitamin C. Now let me explain a little bit what this means. What they can do is they can then test the patient and see how much vitamin C it takes their bodies to fill up with vitamin C until it reaches urine spillover. So then they know how much the body needed as far as vitamin C is concerned. So we understand that when a patient receives IV vitamin C, if they get 5 grams of vitamin C, we know that 5 grams of vitamin C are delivered into the bloodstream and made available for the cells. Then they will do the dip tests to see when enough vitamin C is taken up into the cells that it starts to spill over back into the urine. They can monitor the amount of IV uptake in this manner, and they do it in a titrated fashion. So they'll give you a little bit of vitamin C, and they've shown over the years that this is very effective as far as measuring the effectiveness of uptake of vitamin C. Well, one day when they were testing a patient for vitamin C IV, they were shocked to note that this patient already had spillover of vitamin C without having previously received IV vitamin C. They were curious, as they'd never seen this before, but they found what this patient was taking was the equivalent vitamin C that's in bioactive C. They then went on to test this oral form of vitamin C and found it to be absorbed at an extremely high rate, comparable to what they were finding with their IV absorption. This meant that not only was it absorbed at a high rate, but also that it had a great first pass through the liver, because they could deliver so many grams to a patient from an oral standpoint and subsequently get equivalent spillover into the urine in comparison with IV delivery. The testing was done through intervals and steps, testing the oral vitamin C and watching the urine spillover rates. They concluded that this was the only vitamin C product that they noticed that produced urine spillover rates at or near that of IV delivery. Now, it wasn't 100%, but it was really close. And so great absorption, gets first passed through the liver, gets into the bloodstream, gets absorbed by the cells, and then eventually, once the body fills up, they'll get urine spillover and be able to measure that. Absolutely phenomenal. So again, scientific measurements that prove absorption, first pass, and so forth. Now, if you're looking for a peer-reviewed, double-blinded, placebo study, let me assure you that you're looking for the wrong study. This is science-based using direct measurements, measurements that were repeated and reproduced. That's done when no foundational research has been done before, but also there really didn't need to be comparisons per se. Therefore, through direct scientific methodology and controlled measurements, bioactive C is the world's greatest vitamin C. It has the best bioavailability and the highest cell penetration that has been measured on an oral product. So, in summary, as noted, good research, reproduced research that showed absorption, showed first pass through the liver effectiveness, and shows high uptake into the cell. Additionally, showed high activity within the cell. So, bioavailable, absorbed, and you get the picture. Bioactive C. I encourage you to try some, see how you feel. You'll note amazing results. Thank you, and let me know if you have any other questions or concerns.